Hello, thank you for tuning into this section of readings. This is on YouTube channel James13 Wicca. I am currently doing in-person readings in Herkimer, New York. If you're near there and you want more details, shoot me an email, I'll tell you about it. Um, I'm going to put the information like the decks and stuff like that below. Other than that, if you want a reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. And let's go ahead and get into your reading. Hello, Virgo. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Virgo? Virgo, go, go. Where are we going? I like this deck. Ooh, that's still good, though. That's interesting. So, what is going on here? It's a great question. All right. So it's just kind of pinging in my brain, like communicating about how you really feel about something on your terms in the long run can really go your way. So it's almost like I feel like there's something here that I might have this urge to just not say something, or kind of like, I guess they'll figure it out on their own, something like that. Kind of like, I don't feel like I need to beat a dead horse or something like that. For some reason, you're not saying something, or you're considering maybe I shouldn't say something. They're saying, on your terms, you don't have to say a War and Peace version of it. It could be just a very, like, little tagline. It could be really short if you want to. But talking about how you feel about an outcome, even if it's just a little bit, may serve you in the long run. Because I feel like people need to know like how you actually feel about something, even if it's very subtle, it's very minimal. As long as you get that energy out there, people will be able to reference that. Like, Virgo didn't make a big deal about it, but they did say. And if Virgo said, they don't say things just out of jest. They said it because they meant it. And I feel like even if it's just a little something, it can make a big difference down the road. Because people are like, yeah, I remember when Virgo said that. There's things here where people are trying to get along. People are trying to get along. People are putting forth an effort. You would think that's good, right? Is that a good thing? Five of Pentacles, but the Five of Pentacles like this is telling me there's certain things we're aware of, certain things we're not. Certain things people are sharing, certain things they're not. It's very kind of like, it's very fair weather friend. You know what I mean? Kind of like they show up for the good stuff, they stay away for the bad stuff. You know what I mean? And the communication is there, but I feel like it's very, the star card is there too, but I feel like it has something with communication and trying to make things work out, trying to get along, trying to just keep things in a positive place. So it's like people are leaving things alone, staying away from situations. I feel like for the most part, you're kind of aware of it. I don't feel like I pay attention to it very much, but I feel like if I'm pressed for it, like this one and that one, they talk but not too much about certain subjects. You're like, yeah, well, yeah, because they don't get along, but at least they're making an effort. I feel like if I'm pressed for it, I'm like, yeah, I'm aware of that. I just don't really feel like I worry about it. So there's something here where your opinion really does matter. And I don't think you're realizing how much it matters. And again, it doesn't have to be a big thing, but I feel like there's something about your opinion. You have looked at the situation, you know how you feel. It's something that I feel like, I don't feel like I've sat down and like really labored over the subject, but I feel like every now and then this certain thing comes around in my brain and I kind of sort it out and then I kind of leave it, and then comes back around and I sort it out a little more and then I kind of leave it. And I feel like it's developed very comfortably over time. And at this point, if you go back a year, maybe even 2 years ago, maybe a year or 2 years ago, you're like, I don't know, it seems a little complicated. But current day, it's kind of like, no, I've kind of thought it out. I've noticed some things. I know where I stand now. Maybe in the past, I didn't really know where I stood, but now it's different. Other people are communicating. Okay. There's something going on Now, communication can take many forms. It doesn't have to be verbal. It doesn't have to be text. It doesn't have to be something read. It could be somebody showing up or not showing up. Could be, you know, that's a communication. If somebody's invited and they don't show up, that's a version of communication. Like there's, like, especially if they don't give a reason why they didn't show up, that's a communication in its own, if you follow me. And I'm getting like, there's people trying to understand what's going on here. Again, there's some type of communication. It just seems like it comes out of nowhere to you. Things are just going, or maybe you're just finding out, oh, this is happening. Oh, that person made that choice. Oh, I wasn't aware. So in other words, maybe some people get along fairly enough, but all of a sudden they're just not getting together. That's a version of communication. It doesn't have to be that way. Or somebody's letting you know, this happened and that happened, and a couple people had some strong words, but they left each other alone, but they're kind of staying away from each other, something. Because I get like, there's communication that's very, I know it's the Ace of Swords, but I keep, the word pointed, like somebody like made it clear what they're thinking. Somebody made it clear, and I feel like this is other people communicating. Somebody made something very clear, and there's some stress with that. It seems like maybe to you, either the information came forward out of nowhere or came forward really quickly. I don't feel like there's stress in the sense of like I have to deal with somebody face to face being aggressive towards you, but you may be watching other people kind of like get a little aggressive for a minute. I don't feel like things are going to a flat out blowout, at least not at this point. Okay, so there is a resolution for whatever that is. Other people are doing, something's going on with other people here. And it does seem to be coloring your experience going forward. This might be why I feel like maybe you're questioning if should I even comment on this? Maybe I should just stay out of it. Because it's kind of like other people having issues. And it's the Sun card, but it was upside down. So the analogy I give for the Sun card upside down, the way I read it, just to be fair, right side up, it's kind of like having that beautiful photo album in pristine condition. Upside down, it's like it's gone through a fire, and most of it, maybe 90% of it is saved, but it's a little tattered, a little worn. So it's got to be fixed and got to be corrected. I'm still happy to have 90% of it, but it's not as good as having the original untarnished. Upside down is telling me it's still good. It's still a good thing, but it's gone through some weathering. That's kind of like, so it's still a good situation. The Sun card upside down, still good. Just there's been some tarnishing. There's been some weathering to the situation. And the overall energy here, I get, is pretty good. And I feel like there's a lot of people going, maybe we shouldn't say anything. Maybe we should just leave well enough alone. This is the key part. I feel like this is the key part. Something isn't right here. I feel like something's under the surface and it stinks. Something isn't quite right. And I don't feel like most people want to deal with it. Because it feels stressful to other people. And they're like, if I say something or I bring this to light, it's going to be a problem. Something stinks under the surface. Like something stinks here. Something isn't right. And it reminds me of like, instead of dealing with it, we're covering it up so well that you can't tell it's there, but it's kind of like, it's there. How do I explain this? It's like, I don't know. It's like the dog ruined something or something, and we're just putting it in a sealed, airtight container where you can't smell it or see it, but it still should be dealt with. It's kind of like we just shoved it in this airtight container where we can't take it outside right now, but we're just shoving it to the side, pretending it doesn't exist, and then somebody will figure it out. They can deal with it when they see it. It's kind of like, it's there though, but it's there, and we kind of know it needs to be dealt with, but nobody wants to deal with it. Nobody wants to deal with that nasty mess. The moment going forward from this point is very ironic because it is enjoyable and comfortable for you. Kind of like we're not having conflict, right? The first version is just kind of like, it's all good. Why worry about it? I'm just going to stay out of it and just going to keep to my own. Thing is, whatever this subject is, I feel like it means a lot to you. That's the thing. There's another option, which clearly you have to decide if it's right for you or not, clearly. The King of Cups instead of the Ace of Cups. The King of Cups is in control of the Ace of Cups. There's a difference here. Ace of Cups just existing on itself is just enjoying what's in that cup. The King of Cups decides what goes in the cup and how much you're going to consume of it. And who else is going to enjoy it as well. And there's this is where we come back to that communication thing. there's something about this situation that we don't have to talk about everything, because it says not yet. Doesn't it say that? It's not time yet. There's a timing connection there. But at the same time, it's like we need to kind of like, highlight that something does need to be dealt with. So it's not like, so it's almost like if, for example, if this was a holiday party, just for argument's sake, something like that, some type of social gathering in any form, it's kind of like maybe during the situation we don't want to talk about it, but maybe on the way out going, oh yeah, so-and-so or these people weren't here and I kind of miss them. I really hope things go differently later, and then just kind of head out the door. We don't have to start a big conversations about it, but like making reference. And I feel like based on your situation, you'll know where and when to put that in. Like we don't want to start at the beginning of dinner kind of like saying, oh, I wish so-and-so was here or whatever. Or starting a direct conversation about what we know is going on. Not that I feel like you would, but it's possible. It's more kind of like, in passing as we're leaving, as we're tying up, like, oh yeah, I missed so-and-so. And maybe I'm just making sure only select people hear me comment that I know won't be an issue. Because I feel like I need to kind of like comment on the judgment, but I also don't want to create a full conversation about it at the same time. I keep getting something about timing, giving out a little of it, just kind of like putting it out there that I would like to talk about it, or I'd like that to be resolved. Because, it's like one of those subtle starts. It's kind of like realizing that, if you're going to use home improvement, something's wrong with the roof. It's dipping in this one spot. Something seems wrong there. We could try to ignore it and hope that it's not going to be an issue, or we can kind of be like, all right, something's not right there. It's dipping. It doesn't seem right. Maybe we should just kind of like have somebody look at it, or maybe we should go up there and look in the attic or try to get into the crawl space just to see if like, why is that happening? Maybe we should do a little bit more research. And it's the difference between like, it's fine, somebody else will deal with it, or kind of like, you know what, I know that that's not right, and I kind of want to make sure that this doesn't become a bigger problem. So maybe I'm just going to kind of like, maybe we should have somebody look at that, just kind of throw it in there. Hey, Grandma, maybe we should have somebody look at that before it actually could develop into something more. And while it's not really a big deal now, have somebody look at it. That way it doesn't ever become a big deal. You know what I mean? Because there's something about blessings in disguise and the signs from above. Like, you could help this energy come forward. You could kind of help foster and push this energy into play. For those of you this is going to hit with, I feel like the situation matters to you. And I feel like you want to have that positive energy. And it's kind of like you can kind of do that without getting right in the middle of the, like you don't have to go out in the front yard and get right in the middle of the muck. You don't have to do that. But just kind of like starting the conversation, like maybe we should think about this. Maybe we should consider having somebody look at it. This just a little polite, just gentle, like just get that ball rolling, maybe get some other people thinking about it. I do feel like you probably will trigger other people about this conversation. That's not a bad thing. But when I say trigger, I'm questioning like where that's going to go. I feel like also that's why we kind of want to move on. If they get triggered, if people get really upset about you highlighting something, it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. I'm just saying. Because sometimes people get triggered because they want to hide things, and they get more upset that you're seeing something they don't want you to see that needs to be addressed. But I don't feel like negative energy coming directly at you. But other people might say nasty things behind the scenes. If you hear that, I would disconnect from it if you can. Wherever you feel is correct, of course. Because I get that this situation can go forward in a much more positive way. I do feel like a lot of people are trying to not deal with it. Almost as if, oh, it's not my issue, or it's not my issue, or it's not my issue, or it doesn't need to be my issue. There's a lot of that passing. And it might be true that maybe it's not. But the situation doesn't improve unless somebody starts the conversation. The thing is, if you start it going, there's a lot of people who maybe feel that way, but also want to kind of help. So it's, I don't know if that makes sense. It's kind of like a lot of people are reserving and holding back. But if you start the conversation, those same people also really do want to, but they may have that opinion that maybe this isn't my place, or maybe I shouldn't be saying something. It gets the situation moving. Success is a possibility. People letting down their guard and actually talking about the situation, it's something that I feel like should be talked about. If that does happen, success was there with the Six of Wands. It is. But they're saying be careful about how much and when you communicate. Be careful about who you will and will not communicate this with. Be very careful. Not only who you will, but also who you will not. It's going to take some finagling. I feel like that's not going to be hard for you, because there's certain people like, yeah, I know not to start that conversation there. But there might be other people like, I could start that conversation. It's like when you have those feelings, like, oh, I could. It's probably an inkling like, maybe just start it. You have a way of talking. You have a way of using your information that could really be helpful. But I feel like I want to kind of be more reserved and kind of like think about, okay, how many people are a part of this? Who else is going to take this information and take it forward? I need to be more like, okay, I can talk to these people because they'll respect what I really mean. And I got to be careful with these other people because I could say hello, and next thing you know, they're saying that I threw a grenade into the situation, and all I did was say hello. And it's kind of like, okay, what's the deal with that? I do feel like this will go well. So hopefully this is a helpful reading. That's as far as we got with this one. I mean, it is a general read, I know, but still. That's as far as I got with this one. All right. I'm going to shut this down here. Hope that helps. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.